This is Max and me, and we're in the upstairs deck of Sainsbury's car park in Darnley with two cameras. This one here is a DJI Pocket 3 and this one here is a DJI Action 5 Pro. They're both set on a colour temperature of 6100 Kelvin. They're both set on an ISO of 200, a shutter speed of 50, and as far as I know they're both at the same f-stop. But I should maybe check that because that one definitely looks overexposed. The Pocket 3 definitely looks overexposed. However, that could be because it doesn't have the colour fixing screen option that the Action 5 does. So that one looks very washed out and overexposed. But it might be okay when I fix it later. Whereas the Action 5 here has an option to basically apply a camera LUT, and it makes the screen look as it normally should. Now, why am I sitting in Sainsbury's car park with Max playing with two cameras? Well, I don't really need to do that. Nobody really needs to do that. However, later on in the year I'm going to be going places. And when I go places, I'm going to want to be using two cameras at the one time because you can get different angles, you can cut from one to the other, and it's me. So I will be wanting to use that. So that's going to set the colour balance for both of them. It should be okay as it is because they're both in the same colour temperature. And if I take the computer with Final Cut, then I can also use that to set the other colour settings, set the hues with the vector scope. LumaFusion can do a vector scope, but it doesn't have anything like as good control over it as you get with Final Cut. You can move things around, you can change the saturation a wee bit. That's about it. However, they're both cameras from the same manufacturer. I find their colours pretty much spot on anyway. The only thing you might want to tinker with at all is a wee bit of the saturation, but when I put them into the vector scope and I have a look at this, they pretty much line up bang on right away. So I'm not too worried about that. Usually I just set the white balance and that makes it okay. But anyway, that's why I am sitting in Sainsbury's in Darnley on the upper car deck with Max, while Max's favourite person, which favourite person, Max? Is she in the shop? Max's favourite person is in the shop getting some messages, which I don't think she's done for a while. Usually the management would get messages online, but today she's actually going to Sainsbury's. But there it is. So that's why I'm doing this. It's because I want to work out a workflow for setting these and getting the temperature, colour temperature right and other things right. Actually I can cheat a wee bit. I can use my phone to analyse the colour temperature for the white card here and just set both of them the same. But actually what I find works quite well is if you just set them on automatic, they make a good estimate of the colour temperature. If you flick them onto manual, they stay on that setting. So when I put the white card up towards this one that said 6200, flick it onto manual, it locks on at 6200, and I can just set that one over there at the same colour temperature. I could leave them both on automatic, but the problem there is because they're at different angles, the exposure might be slightly different. Something could be lit more on one side than the other. That would give me different exposures and I would have to fix that later. So I would rather set them the same exposure to begin with. I don't always do it. Sometimes it's easier just to leave them on automatic and they're pretty close most of the time. I think most people on YouTube just leave them on automatic. That's only strange people who care about these things and obsess about them slightly that set them on manual. I know it probably doesn't make all that much difference. It's just fun for those of us who like that sort of thing. Anyway, that's probably enough of that. I'm going to turn these two off, download the footage into LumaFusion and start footing about with it for fun. Yes, Max, fun. Would you like a treat, Max? You have a face that says, I want a treat. I'll give you half a treat. There you go, Max. Oh, how good was that? Do you want the other half? Do you want the other half? There you go, because you've been a good boy. Just sit in the car and not barking all the time. That was interesting. The Pocket 3 over there definitely looked overexposed. So I went online, had a wee look at it, and I found out there's a reason for that. The Pocket 3 has an f2 lens, and the Action 5 has an f2.8. So there's a stops difference in lens speed between the both of them, which is why when I put them onto the same exposure settings, that one looked a bit washed out compared to this one. So what I've now done is they're both on automatic. Still both on dLog, which gives you a wee bit more space to adjust the colours later, but the Pocket 3 is on automatic dLog and the Action 5 is in dLog automatic. So I'm going to import that into the iPad, and have a look and see how that behaves. And if that looks okay, I'll maybe just leave them on manual all the time, unless I've got a good reason for setting it on no. Maybe just leave them on automatic all the time, unless I've got a good reason for putting them on manual. Now, because it's me, and because I can, have a wee shot of that, and there we go. And if I want to tinker with it a wee bit more later in Final Cut, then I've got that on screen. But both on automatic, we'll see how they do. The Pocket 3 there is actually following me around, which is why if I move around it moves around. This one can do it, but I don't have that turned on just now, so it's just sitting steady on top of the steering wheel. So I'm going to have a look at those and see what happens with them both on automatic, which is easier. We'll see how it works.